Welcome back to the video tutorial of Hello guys, welcome back to the video tutorial of mentorship program for UI UX design. Today in this session we will understand the shape tool. As you can see here on the toolbar, we have different type of shapes. Now we will use shapes, we will apply its properties, and we will see what are the things that we can do using the shapes. So let's start. We will start with the rectangle tool, the shortcut to which is R. Okay, I am selecting the rectangle tool from the toolbar and I will click and drag and create a rectangle. Okay, now I can resize the rectangle. Okay, but I will do a Control Z so that I can go to the original size. Now let's say I want to increase it in the same proportion. So what I'll do is I'll press Shift on my keyboard and I will increase the size like that. Now if you can see, it is increasing in the same proportion. Either this, which is the shortcut, or let's look at the right panel. Here we have width and height. We can increase the width, we can reduce the width, increase and reduce the width. Now let's give it a 300 pixel by 150 pixel size. Okay, now we have a rectangle with the size, and here we can see constraint properties. Now what's happening right now is, if we increase the width, only the width of the rectangle is increasing, so the proportion of the rectangle has changed, of that shape is changed. The constraint properties will, if we lock this, so if I click on this, it will get locked. I will click on it. See, the icon has now changed to lock. Now if I change this to, let's say, 600, as we can see, the height has also changed in the same proportion. So if you want to retain the proportion of your shape, you need to lock the constraint properties and then resize your element. Now if I click drag it, it's still changing it, so I need to press Shift and resize it. So that's how you can resize your object and still keep the proportions same. Let's look at more properties on the right hand side panel. We will stick to rectangle for now. X-axis is the X position, as we have seen. Y-axis is the Y position. Width and height we just saw. Next is rotation. So let's say if I want it a little tilted, so I can change the rotation like this. Okay, if I want it vertical, then I will enter 90 degree, and now it's properly a vertical rectangle. Let's move it back to 0 and bring it right at the center. I'll zoom in so that we can see the change of the properties clearly. Now as you can see, there are these round circles. These are the corner radius of a rectangle. Right now, as we can see, all of these are sharp. Okay, so I will select this rectangle, and as we can see here, this is the corner radius for this particular shape. I will change this to 20, a bigger number, so that we can see the change. And here it is, it has changed. You can either change it from here, or I will do a Control Z, or you can select this circle. We will select this circle and I will click and drag it inside. See, as you can see, it has changed the property. So right now it says, it's giving me a sort of tooltip like blue label, and I can see the units changing there. So 20. I will stick to 20. Oh, when I left the cursor, it changed to 19. I will again change this back to 20. Now, let's say you want to give the radius only to one side of this shape. So what we'll do is, we will break this. Okay, so that all of the corners will be independent now. I will select the first one. So the first one is the top left corner radius. As you can see, this is the icon which tells you where exactly the radius is. So I will change this to 0. Okay, I will click on the next one and see. We can see that now it's pointed. I will change the second one to 0, which is top right. So if you can see, it's moving clockwise. Top left, top right, then bottom right and bottom left. It will also show through this icon. We'll change this also. We'll keep that 20 and we'll change the this one to 0. So as you can see, we have successfully changed the corner radius for all 3 corners to 0 and retained the one corner with 20 radius. However, let's join this back. Okay, and right now it says mixed because we have different border radius for those 4. I will change it to 12. Okay, and now we have a corner radius to our rectangle shape. We will move on to fill. Fill is the color that's inside the shape. We can change the color by clicking here. We can select any color. Let's go for something which is brighter so that we can see it clearly. You can reduce the opacity. You can see this as you go on the left, click and drag it, you will be able to reduce the opacity. If you have to give it a specific number, you can give it, let's say, 10%. Now how do we see that the opacity is reduced? For now, I'll retain this to 100. We'll have another shape, we'll reduce the opacity on top of it. So because it will overlap an element, we'll be able to see the transparency. The next thing is you can give it different type of coloring. One is gradient. So this is a linear gradient. I will select linear gradient and now it's given me 2 color options. One is this and one is the same color but with 0 opacity. However, let's say I want to have the same color and slightly darker or a lighter version of that. Okay, so here is my linear gradient. Next, you can see we have a radial. This gradient is in the form of a circle. Then we have angular. You can have the gradient in different angles. Or you can have it in a diamond form. Okay. Now let's go back to linear. The other is image and video. You can include an image, you can include a video. However, we will do that when we start using image in our design. We will go back to linear.